I'm not saying that as like a flex. I'm saying that as I probably am forgetting valuable things I could say because I don't think about them anymore. Just like, same for you out there. If you're a parent, you're probably not that worried about being a parent anymore. If you've been a parent for long enough, right? I'd be losing my mind if I just had a little one.
You do have to consistently expose we used to call it fear chasing. Fear is not the red light. Sometimes it's the green light. A lot of people are playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1888, Alan's Lights Go Bonkers. We are talking about the fact that sometimes your worst fear coming true is actually good. I will never forget this, Alan. And one of the reasons this is extra appropriate is I just got tagged in a Instagram story by one of the amazing NLU family members and past team members and current clients of Alan and past client of mine. Shout out to you, Jenna. Jenna tagged me and said 6 years ago today, Jenna did a post on Facebook and said two amazing things have happened today, and I want to share them with you all. One, the host of my favorite podcast reached out to me and asked me if he could be my mindset coach. And that favorite podcast was this podcast. And it seems like she might have forgot off favorite host. I think she forgot favorite before host. That was also me. And I think we're both hosts or both co-hosts. I don't know how you want to look at it. But that was my first ever client. That was the first ever person that I coached from the lens of, I have a podcast called the Hyperconscious Podcast, and I'm going to do hyperconscious coaching. And I remember I had so much imposter syndrome back then. And I still have days where, as a podcast coach, I still have imposter syndrome. I'll be very honest about that. And my fear, my deep fear, was running into someone and them saying, wait, you coach people? Why the hell do you get the right to coach people? That was my fear. Because I think one of the things about imposter syndrome is you have this deep fear that everybody else knows your deep fear. Like, everybody knows that I am afraid that I'm not a good coach. What if they call me out on it? One day, my deepest fear came true. Somebody DM'd me on Instagram and said, hey, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, okay. Anytime somebody starts a message like that, you kind of, hold on, what? Why are we starting that way? I'm not trying to be mean, but what gives you the right / credibility / ability in general to coach other people? And I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to throw hands with this gentleman. I better put my dukes up. I'm going to have to throw hands with this gentleman. And then I sat back and I thought about it. Because I was just triggered. It was like, oh my God, they know. They know I suck at coaching. They know I don't know what I'm doing. Damn. I've been found out finally. Damn. But I wrote a message back. And it wasn't from a place of ego. It was just, let me see. Let me see what I can put out on paper, for lack of better phrasing. And I said, at this point, I have done, I think it was at least 200 podcast episodes at that point. I have interviewed some of the most successful people on the planet.
Yes.
I've been practicing self-improvement every day for the last few years. I've taken myself from on the brink of suicide to literally living my dreams. Again, struggling with money at the time because we were just growing this business. I have a podcast that's all about self-improvement. I've been studying self-improvement.
I'm in shape.
Wildly single. I don't know anything about love really, but we're not talking about love, so don't even worry about it. And I feel like I did know a lot about relationships even before I had one. But
and before that, you also had a successful career and you were a foreman.
Yeah, I didn't really look too much at that. I sucked at my job, but I also hated it. So those weren't necessarily things
You actually think you sucked at your job?
Certain things I sucked at, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Remember I blew like $3,000 worth of insulation into the wrong attic?
It happens.
It does happen. Easy mistake to make. And my project manager was very supportive of that. So I appreciate that. But I wrote out all these things. And when I sent it, they're like, all right, okay, cool. That's it? You don't want to argue about it or anything? You don't want to fight about it, or you want to tell me I'm wrong or I'm an idiot or whatever? And what I realized that day was I needed to put all of that on paper more than anybody else did. I needed to look at the things. We had somebody that we worked with in the past, and this person they were really struggling with self-belief, and their family had convinced them that they weren't smart enough to go back to college. And I said, this is going to sound just so dumb, but have you ever just sat down and wrote out 10 reasons why you think you're actually smart enough to go back? And she said, no, I've never done that. I said, I guarantee you could put 10 reasons you can't. Why don't we sit down and write out 10 reasons you can? Because you probably have never done that before. And it was just this wild breakthrough for me at the time. I know it probably sounds super simple. Well, fast forward 6 years, I did an Instagram thread about podcast coaching, and I got some hate from people. And
Kevin's getting haters. This is great.
It sucks.
I know it's not good, but it is good because you're putting yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, some people are not going to like it. That's all.
That is an unfortunate fact. And day one of the hate was really hard. And again, this is very much a privilege problem. Like, oh, somebody said something somewhat mean on social media, right? Like, I understand things could be drastically worse than that. And I'm even trying to realize that, Kev, you're going to be fine. You have heat in your home. You have a warm bed. You're going to be fine. Amazing wife. Great business. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. But day one really sucked. And when I get a comment, I get triggered. It's like, I need to say something back. I need to say something. Not because I need to be right, because I just want this person to be closer to the truth than they actually are. I think you're incorrect. I think you're missing
underneath
pieces.
it is you need to stand up for yourself.
That is what I think it really is. Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll feel like a coward. You'll tuck your tail, and you'll lose self-worth, and you'll
100%.
lose self-belief, and
100%.
You'll feel even more like an imposter.
100%. Yeah, because it's almost like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm wrong. You're right. And you just can't do that.
Got to stick up for yourself.
So day one, I stuck up for myself a little bit. It felt worse. Yeah, felt worse. The next day, I woke up. It was like just emotionally tired from ruminating. Got some other comments, and I had a friendly dialogue with someone. Right? One of the things somebody said was, they said, I put on threads, if you could get this done for your podcast for this price, would you do it?
Starting at this price,
would you do it?
Yeah, would you do it?
And somebody messaged, they commented on it and said, if you were an industry expert as a podcaster, the price that people would be paying for the entire package, that's how much you would be charging for an hour of your time. And I wrote back. I said many different things. I said, one, I have worked with dozens of podcasters at this point who are paying an outrageous amount of money for very little value.
To other companies.
To other companies, yeah. Not to us. Not to us. I appreciate that. Thank you. And you know how many I've talked to that said they were about to quit because they couldn't afford what they were paying for this other company? I said in the comment, would you rather these people just quit podcasting forever? Or would you rather them find an affordable service where they can actually win? Because for me, it's the second one. And why can't I be an industry expert who knows his value, who knows that he could charge way more, but chooses not to because he wants to help people? Why 100%. Why can't I be that?
And because he wants to build a sustainable business that has a community of podcasters that all are heart-driven toward their goals and dreams.
But that's not what everybody's thinking about. Now, again, that's not the point. That's a part of it, but it's not the point. I woke up today, and I feel amazing today.
Yeah, nice.
And I think one of the reasons why is I had 2 days of the thing that I hate the most happen, and I realized it's not the end of the world. It's this thing we've said so many times. Fear is a fence. maybe the best analogy I could ever use for fear. So imagine yourself in the middle of a fence that's around you, right? You got 4 sides of the fence. And you walk up to the fence and you look on the other side and you say, life would be really good over there. But you convinced yourself that you can't step over the fence because you're afraid of the fence. Then when you get on the other side, it's uncomfortable for a little bit, but then you realize it's uncomfortable because you haven't experienced it yet. And then when you do experience it a little bit, you realize, this most likely isn't what I made it out to be in my mind. This isn't as bad as I thought. Some people disagreed with me on social media. One of the people actually reposted the thing. They weren't very nice. But again, whatever, man. I stood up for myself. I said my piece. I believe I'm a good person. I believe I'm doing good in the world. And the thing that I was most afraid of, the worst fear, for lack of better phrasing, happened. And if anything, now I'm more aware of how to handle it. So if you're out there and you're a dream chaser, you being a dream chaser might force you, for lack of better phrasing, to do something that scares you. It's going to. Let's say you're afraid of social media. Understandable. I'm not going to be the guy who says, don't worry about it. Nobody will ever comment anything negative. Never going to say that. I think it's very real possibility. It's a very real possibility.
It's a very real probability.
It's a very real probability. The sooner it happens the first time, and then maybe it happens the second time, at least you're exposed to how you react when it does happen. There's something about that. I think one of people's deepest fears is getting into a fist fight with someone. When you train to fight, you don't think about it. It's not that big of a deal. You do that for fun. When you're flying, you're super scared. But eventually, people go on to become pilots, and they're not afraid at all. If anything, they're super comfortable. It's like you just got to get through that initial fear. So that was my inspiration for today's episode. And that's why I went on an epically long monologue, just because a couple stories close to home.
Those are fundamentals we haven't talked about in a long time.
I'd say so.
And that person that Kevin was referring to, who was afraid she wouldn't be smart enough to go back to school, and her family said that, ended up on the dean's list.
Yeah, I'd say she did just fine.
She did just fine. Graduated
really well.
with the
Really
dean's
well.
list. Dean's list. She did very well. My voice is a little hoarse. I've been going a lot this week, so I apologize for that. Exposure therapy is something you can research. And I remember after my car accident, I struggled with double yellow lines. It was really hard to get back in a car. I kept getting pulled over because I was too far on the right side of the road. I had claustrophobia. I remember being in crowds bothered me for a while. And so I used to have to puff my chest up and walk in and out of tight doorways. And the more I did that, the more I got over it. And now I don't have claustrophobia at all. I'm not afraid of crowds at all. It's all good. But when we experience pain or trauma, little or big, obviously the car accident was big, we create these fears that sort of have our central nervous system freak out. And there's the metaphor that I think is really powerful, where when a cat steps on a hot stove, it'll never step on a hot stove again, but it'll never step on a cold one either. And the metaphor there is these things that we go through that are super painful, that we remember being super painful. For example, being made fun of in high school. So Kev was probably made fun of in high school and called out in front of others and embarrassed. And his central nervous system now associates, if I post this on social media and someone makes fun of me, my lighting is going wild right now.
Oh, it's absolutely
it's
haywire.
atrocious. It's not good.
Smash Mouth song. You might as well be walking on the sun.
Nice. I had that album, I think. That was my only CD I ever bought. The only album. Yeah, I never bought CDs, man. That was my only album.
Did you download them illegally?
Yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Of course I did. Come on, man.
I saw a meme the other day. It was like a screenshot of a virus, and it said, "All this just because I tried to download like a Nelly song in 2004." Like, yeah, no, I was there.
Total side tangent. I was talking to Amelia about this yesterday. When I was really young, I think I was 13, I had my own online marketplace where I sold items in a video game.
You and I had very different lives.
Yeah, it's very weird. Anyways, Diablo 2, for anyone out there who enjoys that. the 1% of 1% of you that played that game, even though it was my whole world for a time.
Were you making real money, or was it fake money, in-game money?
Real
Real money?
You also could sell your account. So if you had characters that were really good and you worked on them, you could sell an account to somebody. I used to be a little entrepreneurial back in the day.
I was going to say, I always say that when I'm on podcasts. People say like, oh, yeah, you're an entrepreneur and business owner. And I say, look, I didn't do the lemonade stand. I didn't do the paper route. This is an accident. It's not supposed to be this way. It's a series of misfortunate events that have led me to this.
I have several tiny entrepreneurial endeavors from way back. So I do think I was I do think I was a natural born entrepreneur, yeah. In hindsight's 2020. But anyways, what was I talking about? Exposure therapy.
Yes.
This person went back to school. Oh, Kev, embarrassed, high school. Now you post on social media, someone calls you out. That same trigger happens. And if you don't stand up for yourself, just like you did in middle school or high school, you're going to stay stuck in that version of you. And that's a very real thing. You can research it. And so exposure therapy is really important. Kevin and I have exposed ourselves over and over and over again. That sounds bad. On this podcast.
Clip that right
Clip
there.
that, right? But you know this from doing fitness shows. Going to the beach is nothing after being in a panel of judges in front of an audience. And then I did 42 photo shoots when I was a fitness model. Some better than others. But you're not as concerned. It's not, I mean, I can't remember a photo shoot where there were not some photos that were just awful. Where it's just brutal. So much feedback. Oh my goodness. But
Alan,
you get over it.
You do get over it. Do you remember the time you and I dieted for a photo shoot? Kid show. All right. Alan and I diet probably a couple months.
Yeah.
For a photo shoot. And Alan lived on a pond, a very beautiful home on a pond.
Hey, we dieted.
We dieted. I was taking it very seriously.
Yeah. Me too.
Me too, he said.
Little winky face.
This kid comes to the house, takes a bunch of great pictures.
Oh yeah, that was a great shoot.
The great shoot.
Yeah.
Kid ghosts us. Never heard from him again.
To this day.
Never heard from him again.
Never
like,
heard
hey
from
man,
him again.
Can we get the picture? We're happy to pay for the pictures. Give us the raw. Nothing. So I was upset by that.
Fast forward. Kev and I, we diet for another photo shoot, and we come in, and it was the worst, man. Do you remember in Florida when we started, and we're like, oh, we cannot do this photo. You got to cancel the photo shoot. So in the modeling days, and again, it's just fascinating. You have to be super lean to not look terrible on camera, basically, because the camera does add. It adds. And if you're not shredded, you're gonna just look not great. And Kevin and I were like, yeah, no, we gotta can the photo shoot. We gotta cancel this because we're not in shape right now, and we're gonna need to do better. So, anyways, I don't know.
It though, right?
Well, we had a photo shoot with that photographer at the beach. We ended up canceling that.
I really wish I could tell the story. I don't want to tell the story because it's kind of out there, but we worked with a photographer who was very sketchy. You remember that?
Yeah. This is a different one. I'm talking about a different situation. Yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
Look at your eyes right now. Kevin
it's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, no. So when we were in Florida, we were in Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to some of our listeners that are in Jacksonville. Alicia, what's happening? Yeah. Don't worry, I won't give out your address. I know where you, the town. I know the town. Anyways, we had, you know what I'm talking about now?
I do now, yeah. Also, your Wi-Fi is offensively bad. So if it seems like Alan's talking over me or I'm talking over him, it's because, number one, his camera is absolutely just freaking out. And his Wi-Fi is a little bit off, so his audio and his video is kind of weird, so I can't tell when he's going to stop talking. So.
Are we good?
There it is. Perfect.
I don't understand the lighting thing. Between you and me, why is this happening?
I don't either. Can I tell the story real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll make it appropriate. This photographer, now I really believe he had ulterior motives. Naive at the time. He takes our measurements. He's like, yeah, flex your right bicep. Let me measure it. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah, whatever, man. That's fair. I'm a bodybuilder. This is nothing. I'm in my underwear all the time. Doesn't matter. And he gives me these white, compression shorts, for lack of better phrasing. And he says, yeah, go try these on and then kind of come out and we'll take a look. And I tried them on and you could just see right through them. Just right through. And I came out and gave them to him. I said, dude, not a freaking chance. No. And shame on you. Shame on you, sir. So just a little, Alan, when I tell people Alan and I go way back, I mean, we've been through some weird stuff together.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
That was one of
them. The fitness modeling days were a trip. 42 photo shoots.
Simpler times.
It was good. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. A lot of exposure therapy. Back to the point of the episode.
Great job.
Like Kev, a lot of your deepest fears have all been realized, and you realize that you're okay. And so my point of that is that you do have to consistently expose we used to call it fear chasing. Fear is not the red light. Sometimes it's the green light. A lot of people are playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And if you do want to succeed, you have to, I can't even tell you how many times before a coaching session or a meeting, or I just was on with some students. I'm going to go give a speech in January where I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm not prepared. I don't get what this is going to be. Am I supposed to know what? And I have this moment before every single thing that I have that. And I go, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. You can't not show up. I actually have that dialogue in my head. You can't not show up. You have to show up. So just show up. It's going to be fine. And it almost always is. And I say almost because we told a story recently where it was the worst. And ultimately, I think it's freeing. And again, I know that Kevin thinks I'm weird in this, and I understand. So be careful. You said this before. You said if you have level 2 self-belief, you can take a level 1L. So here's the formula I'm going to give it. Let's say you have level 1 self-belief. I want you to set a level 2 goal and risk a level 1L. If you have level 4 self-belief, I want you to set a level 5 goal and risk a level 4L. If you have level 10 self-belief, just go take as many L's as you have to stay humble and just keep going, because eventually it will work. I've taken a lot of losses. Those 42 photo shoots, I can think of maybe 15 that were world class that I am still some of the photos are like, I wish I still looked like that. That is unbelievable. I remember one photo, and this will probably be weird, and I don't want to make this about me, but there are moments in life where you realize you've achieved your dreams. I was with Emilia the other night. This is the last week. And she fell asleep on my shoulder. We have the fire going, and the pets are just snugging. 2 cats and a dog. And we live in the most beautiful freaking condo. I'm so grateful. And it's just the best moment ever. And I just thought to myself, like, this is unbelievable. I remember growing up in a home that was not peaceful. It was an absolute drama, lots of drama, and this did not exist. This is the most peaceful, wonderful thing ever, and my relationship is beyond what I ever thought it could possibly be. My life is so peaceful, and I have 3 pets. 5 years ago, I didn't have any pets. And it's unbelievable, and it's all worth it. And one more tiny story here. The photo shoots, 42 photo shoots. I have one photo in particular and Kevin knows what photo I'm talking about because it's my favorite, because I remember going to the movies in 2014, seeing the Superman with Henry Cavill, and he got out of the lake jacked. This dude's jacked. And I was drinking at the time. I was working in corporate. I was 160 pounds, skinny, fat, not doing fitness, letting myself go, not reaching my potential. And I had Mountain Dew with Captain Morgan in it, and I was buzzed, and I was wildly unhappy, very externally successful and internally unfulfilled. And I went into the bathroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, dude, you have got to get it together. You can't live like this anymore. And deep down, there's a part of me that knew I could be like that. Maybe not like that, but you know what I'm saying? I could be on that level. And years later, I had one photo that I still have saved where I was on that level. And it was unfreaking believable. And I achieved my dream. And I remember visualizing, I'm going to look like that. And if I put up this photo that I'm talking about right next to that, a picture of him getting out of that lake, it wouldn't be that far off. And I think that's amazing. So whatever it is that you want in life, whether it's the Emilia thing with the house and the pets, or it's a physique or whatever, like you have a dream and you're going to have to face your fears to get to it. And when you do, you might realize that you're more capable than you thought. You probably will. Yeah.
It's almost the opposite of the law of familiarity. When you are so familiar with something, you take it for granted. I think our fears are the opposite. You're so unfamiliar that you think it's way worse than it is.
Yeah.
It's this thing where when you don't experience it, you only have your imagination. And there's one of two ways. You assume it's better or worse than it actually is.
Brother, I coach a pilot who is a chief pilot of 32 other pilots, I believe. Relationship Docs coaching. Shout out to you, Heather. She flies all day, not all day every day, but 4, 5, 3, however many times a week, right? Way more than anyone else.
4, 5,
I honestly
3.
don't know her schedule. Yeah,
what an interesting way to go.
Well, I don't think they work 5-day weeks. They probably go like hard for 3 days, and then the point is,
this will be not surprising to you. I have watched vlogs of pilots. Mm-hmm. Just to figure out like how do they do it, and I don't know.
Oh, dude,
I don't
it's
know.
Like nothing for them.
It's wild. It's just you fly for 7 hours, you go stay in a hotel, you sleep for 9 hours, you wake up, you fly back. It's like, shout out to you. Shout out to you.
That's exactly my point. They did exposure therapy so many times for thousands of hours that they're just not scared anymore. And if you look at the statistics, they are safe. Statistically speaking, safer than cars by a significant margin. So, to your point, you said that the law of familiarity is taking things for granted that come easy to you or that you're around constantly. Fear is the opposite. You just are so unfamiliar with something that it's really, really scary. I mean, I saw an image of one of my clients, shout out to Luam. She's swimming with sea turtles right now. I can't say I'd be thrilled about it in the ocean, but yet she might be afraid of some of the things that I do, right? So you got to get on the other side of that fence if it's necessary for your goals. I'm not saying to go, don't go jump in a snake pit just for funsies. You don't need to chase every fear. However, if you want to be a speaker, you got to get on stage, at least a little one, and then next, and then next, and then next. And ultimately, you'll be blown away that your new normal is way beyond what you were once scared, petrified of.
I had a very similar moment recently where I was laying in bed, and Taryn lays on my chest and falls asleep, and the cats were laying on her, and I had the sound machine on because that's the rule. If she's gonna lay on me, she always falls asleep. And when she falls asleep and the sound machine's not on, then I can't. Then I have to wake her up and get up, and it's a whole thing. So sound machine's on. I got my earplugs in. I got my mouth tape on. I'm ready to go, and I'm just watching boxing on mute, just old boxing. It was amazing. It was like, this is awesome. This is so awesome. And tomorrow I get to wake up and do what I love. It's like the best. But all of the fears and all of the uncertainties and the things that I didn't want to face, that I've had to face, that's the stuff that gets missed. That's the stuff that gets left out. I have probably forgotten so many of the things that used to scare me just because now I'm so used to them. So that, I'm not saying that as like a flex. I'm saying that as I probably am forgetting valuable things I could say because I don't think about them anymore. Just like, same for you out there. If you're a parent, you're probably not that worried about being a parent anymore. If you've been a parent for long enough, right? I'd be losing my mind if I just had a little one.
Yeah, this is not talked about enough. The fear thing. Maybe it's overly simple. Maybe it's not sexy because what holds us back? Fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of speaking, fear of podcasting, fear of social media, fear of embarrassment, fear of judgment. There's no one out there who's not afraid. This will be the last thing. I say that 50 times. I've been saying this on other podcasts, and I always get a laugh, so hopefully.
You just set yourself
laugh for me.
You just
laugh
set yourself
me.
up.
I did, yeah. Now I'm screwed. 2 types of people in the world. People who are afraid and liars. So there you go. He's laughing at me or with me.
It's
either way, I will take it.
It's you just abandon it at the end. You're just like, I can't. just gonna get it over with.
It's just gonna be a pity laugh now at this point.
Just gonna get it over with. But I think that's true.
We are not afraid of the same things. That needs to be very, very clear because some people are actually afraid of success. There are people out there that are afraid they're too good of a speaker or there are people I know that feel like they're too attractive and they trigger everybody sexually and or, if it's the same sex, the envy thing and stuff like that. So they'll purposely not doll up so just understand no one's not afraid. We're just afraid of different things. And if you can figure out what you're afraid of and then do the exposure therapy, you will realize your central nervous system will learn that you're not going to die. Most likely.
Yeah.
So don't be reckless. Disclaimer. Like some things are actually dangerous. That isn't, be safe.
If you're afraid of jumping out of a plane without a parachute, it's probably a good fear to have.
Yes.
That one's good. I'll
keep that one.
That one makes sense for sure. Yeah, same. And you know what? And we'll get out of here right after I say this. You're not just swimming with turtles. You're swimming with turtles and everything else that inhabit the same water that turtles do. Just because you can only see the turtles doesn't mean that's all that's there. That's all I'm saying.
Super fast story.
How fast would you say?
Minute.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go quick with it.
I trust you.
Emilia was telling me she went to the Great Barrier Reef.
That is what it's called, yes.
Yeah, that. She was very disappointed because it is no longer.
I tell that story all the time on other podcasts, all the time. But
yeah,
core
so
values. Core values.
Core values. Nice.
Yeah.
So her core value of the environment. But on that trip, they scuba dived at night. And by they, I mean people that were with her. And they're going down and she's watching because she was like, nope. Smart. I'm not kidding. She you can see the flashlights, right? Getting dimmer because they're going down. Sees something huge swim right over the light. And she was like, I'm so glad I didn't go. Huge. Imagine seeing your friends scuba diving down and you see the lights, the flashlights.
No.
And then you see a massive shark / whale / whatever swim to where you don't see the lights. And then the lights are back.
No.
Hard pass. At night.
Certain things that just don't need to be done.
Yeah. So that was my minute.
That was probably a minute too. I actually forgot. Now, see, that was such an engaging story that I literally forgot about the timer.
Well, that's because you're scared of the ocean.
I
triggered you.
I saw a video of evidently in the Navy you get like one day every so often where you get to swim in the middle of the freaking ocean. No, I don't know if you could pay me any amount. I don't think I could do it. Just like when Tara and I went and we eloped in Colorado, we were supposed to do a hot air balloon. And the night before, I was just sweating in bed. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I honestly don't. I don't know if I'm physically capable going that far outside my comfort zone. Luckily, there was a storm and it got canceled. That might have been the end of the marriage.
You
right there,
manifested a
because
storm.
I swear to you, I was like, please get canceled. I need some storm. I need some wind and some rain to come whipping through here. I'm not going to be able to do this. And this is going to become a point of contention in my marriage because I said I was going to do it. I can't do it. I physically don't think I can do it. And then I was so happy that it happened, unfortunately. We got our money back too, which was nice. All right. Next Level Nation, if you're looking for a group of like-minded humans who are into growth, I know it's weird to talk about getting outside of your comfort zone around certain people and ego and relationships and evolution and limiting beliefs and all that stuff. In Next Level Nation, it's always going to be cool because that's what this entire community is built on. So we'll have the link in the show notes for that.
I just got another client at twice a week. Shout out to you, Cole. What's happening, brother? And I am so pumped. So goals, metrics, habits, skills, identity, making sure all of those are aligned is how you achieve your goals. And a lot of us are setting goals that are not predicated on who we really are. And some of us are going outside of alignment with who we are in order to achieve those goals. So either you're going to hit the goal and be unfulfilled, or you're not going to hit the goal because what is required of you is outside of your comfort zone or maybe on the other side of fear. Let me help you with that. It's my favorite work in the world, and I am going to help you strategize either twice a week, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. And we'll track metrics and habits. We'll keep you on track. Reach out.
Tracking keeps you on track.
Mm-hmm.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
When other podcasters ask me what's made the biggest difference, I always say habit tracking. Is that you too?
I usually say it's mostly my strategic thinking and long-term vision. I think that has gotten us here. Not a minute goes by where I'm not thinking about the future. So I think that's a real big piece of it. No, I always say habit tracking. Habit tracking and extreme humility. I would say those are really the two that have got me here.
No. It's mostly Kevin's intelligence.
I always say habit tracking. I say imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing exactly what you should do in order to get to where you want to go. Yeah, that's the biggest difference. I don't ever question what I should be doing, and that level of clarity is a privilege, and it's something Alan can help you get. Good, quickly.
Thank you. I was with a client today that I've been coaching for years, and we just revamped his whole. He just got clarity about a new potential future, and we just revamped a new brand, and we just revamped his entire metrics and habits. So even 2 years in, there's still tweaks that can change everything.
There's always tweaks. All right, we're going to get out of here. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay on track. Next Level Nation.